Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to call the Putnam County Board of County Commissioners meeting to order for Tuesday, April 26th. I'd like to welcome everybody here this morning. We'll begin our meeting with the invocation given by Pastor of Providence Baptist Church, Pastor Rudy Howard. I ask him to come up front, and the pledge will be led by Commissioner Adamczak. Please stand if you're able.
Let us pray. Father, we come into your presence today. Lord, we just ask you to take and be in our presence today. Let us take and do your will. Let us always be mindful that you said, call on me and you will answer thee. Lord, today we need answers from on high. Lord, we ask you just to give our commissioners discernment to do what's right, even though it seems wrong, Lord. And Lord, we ask you just take and be with us and guide us as we go through the day. Let us always take and just be the light in this dark and shining world. Lord, we praise you and we love you in your Son's precious and holy name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think that's yours. Mine. Yeah.
Thank you, Pastor Howard, and thank you, Commissioner Adamczak. Commissioners, we'll move down to the first item of business is approval of minutes as
Chairman?
presented.
I move approval of the minutes as stated in our agenda. Second.
We've got a proper motion by Commissioner Harvey and a proper second by Commissioner Turner. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, Commissioners, we'll move down to the next item of business, which are presentations. And I'd like to ask the group from the Haven Hospice to come forward. We have Ms. Pauline Taylor, President and COO, Sharon Jones, Vice President of Development and Executive Director of Haven Hospice Foundation, Crystal Burks, Professional Liaison, and the Honorable and ever youthful Danny Martinez, Chairman of the Haven Hospice Foundation.
Amen.
And as I go up front, I have asked Commissioner Rawls to read this proclamation.
Is that yours?
It seems to be mine.
It's yours.
Mine's on now.
This is Putnam County Proclamation 2022-036, National Healthcare Decision Month. National Healthcare Decision Day is recognized across our nation on April the 16th, 2021 to raise public awareness of the need to plan ahead for healthcare decisions, especially those related to end-of-life care, medical decision-making when patients are unable to speak for themselves, and to encourage specific use of advanced directives to communicate these important healthcare decisions. Many Putnam County residents have not yet prepared for healthcare decisions until times of crisis or at the end of life, nor had any conversations with their families and their healthcare with their families and documented those decisions. I actually read that 3 times to make sure I was reading it right. It's likely a significant reason for these low percentages is that both a lack of awareness and uncertainty in the public about advanced directives. One of the goals of Healthcare Decision Day is to raise awareness and provide clear, consistent information to the public about advanced directives, as well as to encourage medical professionals and lawyers to volunteer their time and efforts to improve public knowledge and increase the number of citizens with advanced directives. Haven Hospice endorses this event and is committed to educating the public during the month of April to stress the importance of discussing healthcare choices and executing advanced directives to make their wishes known. Through the authority vested in the Board of County Commissioners of Putnam County, I do hereby proclaim April 21st, 2022, April 2022 as National Healthcare Decision Month in Putnam County, Florida. Done, ordered, adopted the 26th day of April, 2022.
Okay, we have a motion to accept this proclamation.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, got a proper motion by Commissioner Rawls and a second by Commissioner Adamsack. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, in case saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, proclamation passes. Before I ask them to come up and maybe say a few words, just 20-something years ago, I really wasn't sure what hospice was all about until my father got ill, and it was a godsend, and also with my mother-in-law. But the services they provide are just invaluable in time of such crisis as that. So anyway, thank you so much, and if you would say a few words. Mr. Taylor.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Haven Hospice, we thank you for this, and we certainly appreciate the support that we receive from Putnam County and all of its residents, as we are privileged to be able to provide care at this vital time in everyone's life. Thank you.
Chairman, may I say something? So I just want to thank hospice in general, especially the one here in Putnam. I've had the displeasure and pleasure of working with hospice on 2 different occasions in the last 6 years, one with my mother, one with my stepfather. And I will say, as far as the advanced directives, we did not have that for my mother, and it created a situation where when it came time to go into hospice, we spent a lot of time doing that work. And I will tell anyone in the public that if you have this done ahead of time, we did have it for my stepfather through the work of a local attorney here, and that made it so we could focus on the family member and on what the needs were, not on the directive. So just everyone take this seriously. If you can get your advanced directives in line and stuff, it's going to make it a lot easier for everyone involved, and allow that process, as sad and tough as it is, to go better. And the people here locally do a fantastic job. Thank you.
I have personal experience with the Haven Hospice Palliative Service. My wife came down with dementia 5 years ago. It was the doctors came up with dementia, Alzheimer. If it hadn't been for Haven Palliative Service, I could not have kept her at home until she passed away May 13 of 2022. It would have been impossible for me to take care of her because she didn't know who she was, she didn't know who I was, which probably was a good thing, I guess. But it was an experience that I don't wish on anybody. But it was a good one for me. Married 69 years, so it's the least I could have done for her. And again, Haven Hospice Palliative Service, 5 days a week, kept me sane, to be honest with you. Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, if I could say one thing. I think Commissioner Adamsack's right. Mr. Martinez, to your point, there's a lot of people that don't know about this. My wife and I are going through a very similar situation, and we're getting our affairs in order as a result of it. But I think there are a lot of people that just go through their daily lives not thinking about what could happen tomorrow and how it affects the folks that may be taking care of them and their affairs. So I'm sure there's something we could do to help get this out in the community. Just to make it more than just a proclamation or a mention once a year at a certain time of the month, but something ongoing that's more fruitful. And it may start with the school system, for all we know, getting young folks educated with helping deal with their parents in the future, because eventually somebody's going to be taking care of us somewhere. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner.
We're fine, thank you.
Can we get a picture?
Sure.
You want us to come down, Mr. Chairman?
Let me get mine.
It's warm, yeah.
Okay, our next presentation, and I will ask the whole group from the Fruitland Peninsula Historical Society and other groups to come up front, Mr. Jim Stedgy, and we'll read the proclamation for National Historic Preservation Month, which is actually next month in May. And I've asked Commissioner Turner to read this proclamation. It has nothing to do that Commissioner Turner is the oldest commissioner on this board. It just happened that it was his turn to read a proclamation. So if I could get y'all to come up front.
But young at heart, young at heart.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, this is Putnam County Proclamation number 2022-037, Historic Preservation Month. Whereas local historic preservation is an effective tool for revitalizing neighborhoods, fostering local pride, and maintaining community character while enhancing livability. And whereas historic preservation is relevant for communities across the nation, both urban and rural, and for Americans of all ages, all walks of life, and all ethnic backgrounds. And whereas it is important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the conditions may be dictated, made by dedicated individuals in helping to preserve the tangible aspects of the heritage that has shaped us as people. And whereas the Fruitland Peninsula Historical Society, the Putnam County Historical Society, the Interlochen Historical Society, Historic Melrose, and other community groups are participating in the Historic Preservation Month during May of 2022. And whereas Putnam County community in whole has embarked upon the numerous commitments of preservation, historic archaeological surveys, nomination of significant cultural resources to the local, state, and national register of historic places, the protection of traditional neighborhoods, and the integration of historic elements and redevelopment, and the recognition, rehabilitation, and restoration of historic properties. Now therefore, I, Bill Pickens, Chairman of the Board of County Commissioners, Florida, do hereby proclaim May 22nd, May 2022 as Historic Preservation Month, and call upon the people of Putnam County, Florida to join their fellow citizens across the United States in recognizing and participating in this special observance. In witness thereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the Putnam County Board of County Commissioners, Florida, to be affixed to this 26th day of April 2022. Mr. Chairman, I move this proclamation.
Second.
We got a proper motion by Commissioner Turner, proper second by Commissioner Adamsack. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor indicate saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Proclamation passes. Thank you. Before I turn the mic over to Mr. Jim Stedgy, who definitely commands a presence when he comes into the room, and but anyway, just want to thank Jim for reaching out to me for us to recognize National Historic Preservation Month for next month. The Fruitland Peninsula group has been working really hard. They were able to secure the old library at the Miller Middle School when that school was shut down, and they have put together quite an exhibit, and I hope they talk about the open house on May 14th, I believe. And just want to recognize, he'll introduce everybody, but Marianne Braddock behind me, and then Cherie Nelson Register, along with myself, have lived in South Putnam all of our lives. And Marjorie Nelson's, Cherie's mother, was the adopted, proclaimed historian for South Putnam since 1970, I believe, Cherie. And I used to discuss a lot of things with her father, Mr. George Nelson, and some of it was how much stuff that his wife had that she saved. So they actually had at least 1 or 2 semi-trailers full of stuff, and probably some of that stuff has made it to the library. So anyway, I'll ask Mr. Jim to come up first. Oh, excuse me, Nancy Taylor also. And all her life in South Putnam, so.
I don't think anybody ever anticipated somebody that tall standing at that lectern.
I know.
It works just fine. I'm the relative newcomer to the group. I've been here 25 years, a little fish camp down in Wielaka. It's an honor for me to be involved in this county, and the history is just unbelievable. I mean, just this weekend we had Bartram Frolics, and you know, that takes us back to the 1760s. There's a little spring right next to my property called Saratoga Springs that he sat at for 3 days, and apparently Sam said that members of their group actually started weeping when they were there because they were on the site of this wonderful man, William Bartram. Anyway, we've gathered the whole group here. I'm going to ask Cherie to speak to you because she is the president and really the core of our team, president of our Fruitland Peninsula Historical Society, and she'll really address you personally. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
He could have stayed up here. I just want to thank the county commissioners for recognizing, signing this proclamation, declaring May the Historic Preservation Month. We've just rewritten our vision and our mission for our historical society to make it clearer are the importance of our local history. The first sentence of our vision, I won't read it all, but the historical context of our life is fundamental to how the past shapes our community's presence and futures. My mother often talked about, you don't know where you're going if you don't know where you've been.
That's right.
She was a historian, like Bill said, for over 6 decades. And our mission is short but strong, to bring together people to discover, promote, and preserve the history of the Fruitland Peninsula so that future generations can know and benefit from our rich heritage, cultures, and traditions. It's important that all of our county historical societies work together. Putnam County has such a rich history. I'd like to invite all of you to our grand opening on May 14th in Crescent City. I believe most of y'all have gotten invitations. Whether you responded or not, don't know. And we're also kicking off this month with an event on April 30th to recognize some of our historical structures in the Crescent City area. So we hope to see you soon. And in reference to my mother's collection, a lot of it has found its way down into our new archives. But there's still another semi-truckload full of it I still have to go through. And again, thanks on behalf of the Fruitland Peninsula Historical Society. So we got
Mr.
somebody
Chairman,
else?
may I ask, when is that meeting again? Because I don't,
14th.
it's the 14th, but what time and
May
where?
15th. 14th. I keep wanting to clean up afterwards. I do have some extra brochures I will make sure I leave for the
Okay,
clerk, and that
thank
way
you.
anybody can
Thank you.
sign them. And we've come of age. Everything's got a QR code now, so you can register online and all that good stuff.
Good deal.
I'm Sharon Varnes. I also am a member of the Historical Society of Interlaken. And Interlaken has a slew of history and everything. I invite you to come to the museum Saturdays from 10 to 2 and see what a lot of the artifacts of Interlaken. Also, we're going to be having an ice cream social in May 21st. I forgot what it is. And period costume, music, and everything at the Caboose in Interlaken, and that ought to be fun. Thank you.
I was belatedly advised that the Floor Home also has a historical society, and Mary Lynn reminded me yesterday, and so we have 5 active, really, I mean, that's a pretty good number for our county. So 5 active societies that are working together. Thank you.
We're here from the Putnam County Historical Society. And Sharon, Jim, and Kim are all part of that, Robbie Correa. And we also, as you know, Palaca and all of Putnam County has a rich history. And of course, we have the sites in Palaca, the others in the county were mentioned, but Bronson, Mulholland, and the museum. And also, Jim is chairing and working on you forgot about that, the restoration of Noah's Ark and trying to raise funds to do that, which is, again, a significant and interesting part of our history. Thanks.
Good deal.
Mr. Chairman, if I could. So, I heard a presentation one day by Larry Beaton on the history of the bricks and the streets in Palatka, and it really opened my eyes to the fact that there's a lot of things that we take for granted, and as time goes on and technology advances, a lot of this stuff will become history and will no longer be tangible or visible. But there's really no reason, like you said, if you don't know your past, you can't know your future. So we do need to learn from our past. I think that it's very important for Putnam County, because I don't know who has the richest history in Florida. But, you know, there's so many stories that you hear. I don't know if they're anecdotal or if they're real, but, you know, you talk about Walt Disney actually looking at property at one point in time down Highway 19 to place Disney World. Palatka was supposed to be the capital of Florida till it burned down. I think we have the second oldest, if not the oldest, water supply system in Florida because of that Great Fire. But there is a lot of history here. I think that we should exploit it and get it out in the public and let people know who we are. I look at other communities, and they've moved beyond their history. And it's just not really as prevalent as what we're seeing nowadays. So I congratulate all the groups for what they're doing. I think it's awesome. I know that the Putnam County Historic Preservation Society was looking for a place to land. Did you guys ever find a place?
I didn't hear all of that.
Yeah, we're looking for a place to land, a physical structure to house. And was that ever?
Putnam County is still in the Bronson, Mulholland.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have it there. We tried several years ago to try for a Putnam County Archives,
Yeah.
but that fizzled.
Is
Not
that
completely.
dead in the water, or?
No.
Well, we never think of it as dead in the water. We always are optimistic. And there's a great building in downtown Palatka that could be an archive center and a library branch. It's vacant, but it belongs to the county, but it's been vacant for a while.
Which building is that?
Attorney Clark's old office. I know there were plans for it, but it's been sitting there gutted and vacant for some time now. And it's kind of an eyesore, but it would be a great archival center and a little library branch. Hint, hint.
Can we vote on that now?
They can't vote on it.
I got one other thing to say, Bill. Just one other thing. Sam Carr was our speaker with the Bartram Frolics at our last meeting last Thursday, and after he saw what we have down in Crescent City, we are going to be housing all the William Bartram prints down there, just housing them, because right now they're just sitting in boxes. Nobody can see them during the year. So,
And that building is y'all's to have forever?
we don't know.
Not necessarily, depending on school board decisions. We also have the entire collection of the Courier Journal from Crescent City. All the existing
All newspapers.
copies of that. So it's a pretty significant collection.
Mr. Chairman, may I have a moment? Won't take long. I promise to make a long story short. My mother-in-law was born in the orange groves in Manville, outside of Interlaken. And her mother worked at the old town hall. And the windows were boards that went up, and they had a stick that held it open during the day. And this gentleman came up on a horse and stuck the horse's head in the window. And she said, "Get off my horse." And he said, "I'm not on your horse. I rented the horse from the man down the road." Well, the man down the road is my daddy, and you're on my horse. And The next week, he was a very flamboyant young man. He was a paymaster on the telephone pole with the railroad coming through. So he went to the brush store and bought a box of chocolates to bring to her. And that's when the courting started. They went on a date wherever they could go on a date in Interlaken back in those days. I don't know where. And they decided to elope, but the town was flooded in. They couldn't get out. So they had to wait a few weeks for the water to recede so they could get out of town and go get married. And so when I think about Interlaken, I married my wife. Had that not happened at the old town hall, I wouldn't be out there. I wouldn't have married my wife. And my mother-in-law is living within a half a mile as a crow flies to where she was born at. So it's really neat when you start looking at the history of places. And I agree, if you don't know where you came from, you have no idea what the future is going to hold for you. And we're made of our past, and we can overcome some of those. But truly, our roots are right there. So thank you all for the work that you do, and I applaud you for that effort. And I have been talking to Marshall Lane. We're not finished with the Palaca thing yet, so, okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
He wants to stay up here?
Rachel, if you'll give your phone to,
Larry doesn't want to stay next to Jim and feel small.
Yeah. I don't want to feel small around Jim.
he's taller than me and I'm up on this platform.
Can you be seen? Wait a minute, we got to get Commissioner. What? Hey, Jim would stand on a chair. Why don't you?
I know.
You know?
Here, I'll raise my arms.
Jim, how tall are
Thank y'all for everything you do.
How tall are you, Jim?
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks. You can make it through a door without having
No, not with these
I
shoes
get
on.
updates regularly.
Thanks to you.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Rachel. Huh? Do what?
I think she has a contract on it now. That's family business, and I've learned to stay out of that. Thank you, too.
Okay, Commissioners, our next item of business is to recognize a couple of Putnam County employees. So I'll ask Mike Troxel to come forward, along with Jay Tilton, and the employees we're going to recognize. And
Excuse me. Good morning, Commissioners and Administration. It's a pleasure for me to do this today. I don't know if you know Mike Rodriguez, but he's a shining star of the county, in my opinion. He does a lot of work for us in Public Works, and I think the county would look a little different if he was not here. He's one of the gentlemen that almost 99% of the grants that come through this place for Public Works goes through Mike and Mr. Sullivan with the administration. And I cannot say enough good things about Mr. Rodriguez and what he does on a day-to-day basis for us here in Public Works and the county. So with that, he got Employee of the Month. And so what he gets also gets a $100 check.
All right.
So that's awesome. I just want to thank him for everything he does for us every day in Public Works.
He could be a little more animated, right?
Good morning, gentlemen.
good morning.
Thank you for this opportunity to come up to you here today, and a special opportunity to once again present to you Miss Elizabeth Middlebrook. As you know, she got Employee of the Month not too long ago for her outstanding efforts in what she does for the sanitation department down at our Huntington Road location. And I'm thankful to come to you today and let you know that she also has just received Employee of the Quarter for the county.
Good deal.
And for that, we're thankful. Not much has changed. She still shows up to work every day, does her job just like we need her to. And so with that being said, I'd like to present her with this check for, I believe, $500. Is that correct? Is that correct? I'm getting head shakes. Yeah, that's correct.
It is now.
$500. So thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, you mind?
Commissioner Harvey?
I want to say a few things about both individuals. I don't know you that well, and I apologize. I don't go down to your landfill as much as I go to Interlaken. But Mr. Rodriguez, when you came here, you really brought a lot of good effort with you and a different perspective. We don't always agree, you and I. That doesn't matter. We don't have to. I don't always agree with myself, but you always give me a better perspective, and I appreciate that. And on the landfill side, I was going to say this in my commissioner comments, but I think it deserves to be said right now. I've never seen more of a professional organization in my life than I've seen in the past few years about the landfill. And people just think it's a hole you throw stuff in and that's the end of it. And it's a lot more detailed than that. And I was out there Saturday in the line of cars and waiting to get rid of a bunch of tires. And I tell you what, the professionalism that you showed and your staff, and it's just amazing how, and not only was I amazed at that, when I was headed home, all the vehicles that I passed bringing tires out, thinking you got 1 hour to get out there before time expires. People were coming through from all over the county. And it warmed my heart to see communities cleaning up and doing things that they needed to do. So I just wanted to say thank you to both departments, and thank you both, okay? Thank you.
Okay. And thank you, Mike, for everything that you do, and Beth. Still hearing good things. We want to get a picture before you sit down. I still hear good things, because it's probably not the most pleasant job sometimes at the convenience center, taking different items, but I hear really good things about how you conduct yourself and treat citizens. So it's great. And thank you, Mike. And we do want to get a picture if y'all will come up in front of the podium. Y'all want it individual or together?
It don't matter to me.
Okay.
It's a team effort.
The team, yeah.
Good deal.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Okay, we'll move down to item D. Julianne, you want to take a drink of water before you give us an update on the countywide projects list?
Thank you, Chairman. Just as a reminder, this is not an all-inclusive list of every project or initiative underway by staff or administration. It is intended to be a snapshot of those most important to our citizens, administration, and/or our commission. And with that, we'll begin the April update. Administration has a contract database project underway. Administration and IT have developed the contract management database. Final program testing and contract document uploads are in progress. The Animal Control Facility project, core borings were obtained, the analysis received. Commissioner Rawls provided some engineering conceptual plans. The plans have been provided to staff, and staff is drafting the procurement documents needed to procure construction services. Building and Grounds has 2 roofing projects, the agricultural offices and the governmental complex. The roofing project at the Agricultural Extension Office was awarded at the April 12th meeting. The anticipated award for the governmental complex roofing project is expected at the May 10th, 2022 meeting. The Department of Health Clinic, they're doing some remodeling in the main building. The remodel includes having new floors placed to match the beautiful clinic, as well as new paint and new cubicles. Emergency Services has an ISO rating project. After a year of collecting data on our ISO rating, we are moving into the pre-survey period. Hope to have the final pre-survey completed at the end of May. We will then move into a 6-month review period, and the goal is to have a countywide ISO effective in October of 2022. The Information Technology Department has a multitude of projects underway. The Animal Control application is complete. Animal Control has finished beta testing, and their new application will be going live with new systems April 23rd. Sanitation camera systems are in progress. Networking has completed phase 1 of the sanitation system overhaul and started work on phase 2. The phone system E911 caller ID updates is in progress. Networking is working to update the E911 addresses and caller IDs for the phone system. This project is ongoing. Workstation deployments in progress. PC deployments to various BOCC departments to replace aging and out-of-warranty systems is ongoing, and the current batch is slated to be finished in April. Smart COP map project is in progress. GIS is nearing completion on the Smart COP mapping project for Division of Emergency Services in the Sheriff's Office. Smart COP should start testing the maps next month. Ag Story map is in progress. GIS is currently working with the Ag Story map for the property appraiser and is slated to be finished for Greenbelt. Hydrant map in progress. GIS is working with the Division of Emergency Services on mapping all the hydrants in the county to track maintenance and for insurance purposes. The library has the Melrose Library expansion. It has completed. The ribbon cutting ceremony is scheduled for May 21st, 2022. Parks and Recreation has the Georgetown project. UF Extension Service met with staff in February for a routine progress meeting. They've provided staff with revised conceptual drawings as well as suggestions for completing certain requirements that the county is attempting to complete to come into compliance with the Florida Communities Trust Grant. Project timeline to complete for the UF report analysis is June. Parks and Recreation has the Flora Home Park Historic Building. The Flora Home Historic Association has completed the steps on both porches and the railings on the large porch. They are working on the small porch and the handicap ramp railings. Next week, they anticipate painting the rafters in preparation for the metal roof to be installed. They are also waiting on the pump to be installed at the well so that they can install the associated electrical and have the septic system inspected and covered. Parks and Recreation has a pickleball court project at the John Theobald Sports Complex. The volleyball courts have been relocated to prepare for the construction of the permanent pickleball courts. The RFP is being drafted to secure construction services for the new pickleball courts. Public Works has the Fort Gates Ferry Landing project. Procurement for the remaining construction services needed to complete the rehabilitation is underway. Public Works has the Barden Bridge project. All the FDOT remaining items have been complete. This project is officially closed. Public Works has the St. Johns Avenue resurfacing Palm Avenue to the CSX crossing at the Palatka Fire Department. Negotiations with the CEI consultant are underway. Construction is anticipated to begin August of 2022 once the city's water line replacement project is complete in the area. Public Works has the County Road 310 bridge rehabilitation. Negotiations with the CEI consultant are underway. Public Works is awaiting the submerged land lease from the TIF prior to advertising for construction. Septic to sewer conversion phase 2, the contractor has installed all 89 grinder pump systems and 65 septic tanks have been decommissioned. Completion of the project is anticipated to be early May. Septic to sewer conversion phase 3, Public Works has obtained all the utility easements and agreements needed to begin the project. Construction bid documents are scheduled to be advertised this week. The anticipated start date is June of 2022. Sawyer-Salem Bowl Green Drainage Project. Construction is substantially complete and the final punch list items are being addressed. The project is estimated to be completed by the end of this month. Dirt to pave 2021. Construction is underway. All roads except Darren are expected to have lime rock placed and compacted by mid-May. Paving is scheduled to begin this week on Norwood, Tropic, Park, and Whitehall. All roads are scheduled to be completed by December of 2022. Dirt to pave 2022. The survey work is nearing completion by county staff. Public Works is in the process of obtaining proposals for the design services required for the project. East Putnam Drainage and Flooding Mitigation, phases 1 through 4. Notice to proceed has been issued to the contractor and they are planning to begin June 2nd, 2022 on phase 3. Phase 4 permitting and design activities are underway. Phase 1 and 2 are complete. St. Johns Avenue Drainage Improvement, State Road 19, County Road 309C. The bids for construction segments 1 and 2 are due April 29th. Construction activities are anticipated to begin May of 2022. The completely executed Amendment 2 to the agreement with the DEO has been obtained and negotiations are underway to secure additional engineering services needed to expand the project. St. Johns Avenue Multi-Use Trail. Public Works has obtained a 2.5-year time extension from FDOT for the project and will be presenting it to the board for approval during the next BOCC meeting or workshop. Countywide drainage improvements, Point of Wood Trail, Riverview Dry, Ida, and Junction project located are substantially complete. The Edgefield outfill outfall project. Location is anticipated to be completed by the end of May 2022. South Palm Sidewalk Walk, Druid Street to Silver Lake Drive. Construction bid documents have been approved by FDOT and are anticipated to be advertised in May. Saratoga Harbor Project. County staff is in the process of reviewing alternative means of addressing the situation prior to bringing the topic back to the board for discussion. James A. Long Elementary and Jenkins Middle School safe routes to school. 100% design plans are under review by FDOT. County Road 315 resurfacing project. The notice to proceed has been issued to consultant to engineering design services. The final design is expected to be completed by January of 2023. Port Buena Vista wastewater treatment plant conversion and sewer main extension. The bid documents for construction services are completed and anticipated to be advertised in June of 2022. Paradise Point sewer system hardening and generator installation. The funding agreement has been obtained from FDEM. Coordination with EOR is underway to secure post-design services needed to complete the project. Countywide guardrail inspections, repairs, and replacements. The construction bid documents are currently under review by county staff prior to advertising. Countywide resurfacing 2022. The construction bid documents had been advertised and the bids are due May 9th. Countywide striping project. The construction bid documents are currently under review by county staff prior to advertising. East Palaca Septic to Sewer Project Phase 4. The completely executed agreement has been obtained from FDEP. The RFQ documents for the design criteria package are underway. The following step will be to procure a design build firm to design the construction of this project. Sanitation has the Cell 4A construction project. Cell 4A is complete, and the final CQA documents are being put together to send to DEP. Once sent, the final inspection from DEP will be set up and performed. Sanitation completed their waste tire amnesty day and collected over 3,300 tires. That concludes my project update.
Thank you, Julianne. A lot of things going on in Putnam County. So, commissioners, any questions on the update at all?
Mr. Chairman, may I say something?
Commissioner Harvey?
Thank you, sir. You know, I really appreciate this list, and I know, Julianne, it's a lot to read, but our citizens need to know what's going on in the community. And when sometimes they don't see all the things or hear all the things. And I tell you what, this list is amazing, and the work that's being done out there to benefit our citizens of Putnam County and promote economic development is astounding. So thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks staff for all the work you do.
Okay, thank you, Julianne, for the update. Okay, commissioners, we'll move down. The next item of business is public comment on agenda items. This portion of the agenda is designed to allow citizens an opportunity to bring matters to the attention of the board. It's not reasonable to expect that the board will engage in debate or deliberation on matters in which the board received no prior information as part of the agenda. Anybody wishing to make public comment on agenda items? Okay, all right, seeing none, we'll move down to the consent agenda, item 5. Commissioners, any items you're wishing to pull? And I'll start with Commissioner Turner.
I have none, sir.
Okay, Commissioner Adamsack.
I have none.
Commissioner Rawls.
Item B.
D or B?
B is in Bravo.
B, okay. Commissioner Harvey.
I have none, sir.
Okay, and I have none.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval items A, C, D, E, F, and G.
Second.
Okay, we've got a proper motion by Commissioner Harvey, proper second by Commissioner Turner. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, consent agenda passes. Item B, Commissioner Rawls, remit payment to Georgia Pacific.
So I wasn't on the commission at the time that the, I think it was Project Purple was what they called it. But from memory and from what I read in the paper, the intent was to increase the staffing at Georgia Pacific by putting the new paper machine on, creating new jobs. My understanding is that year over year, we actually have a net negative on that number, going from the mid-900s to the mid-800s now. And I'm just wondering if the intention was for us to gain jobs, why would we be reimbursing them if the net was actually loss of jobs over time? I realize that technology comes in and they're more efficient and all that, but at the end of the day, we're going to we're giving them back $20 million, but we're losing 100 positions over a very short period of time. I just wonder if that was the intention. I've read the agreement. several times. I personally would not have voted for that in the form that it was presented, but I just wonder, if, maybe this is a question for Mr. Commando, if the intention was to gain jobs, and it's not spelled in the agreement, do we have any way to leverage anything? And
I'd have to see the agreement, to see what
it's in the agenda, but I read it a couple months ago as well. But I wanted to have a conversation about it, bring it up, share my concern. Don't know if we could maybe get somebody in here from GP to take a look at their certified payroll over the past years and see where we're at and what we can do.
Okay, all right. Commissioner Harvey?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The intent was not only just to increase jobs, but it was also to keep Georgia Pacific in our community. We were in a bidding war, if you will, with other communities that wanted Georgia Pacific and wanted this new plant. And we understood that it was going to be automated and there would be only so many jobs. But for the community to lose a company like Georgia Pacific would have been devastating to our area. So that was really the main goal, was to do that, provide value to the employees and also to our citizens of keeping Georgia Pacific in this area. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Turner?
Mr. Chairman, I have nothing to add. That's almost exactly what I was going to say. That was in support of trying to keep one of the largest employers in the county by bringing in the additional paper machine. So it wasn't just tied to jobs. That was just one portion of it. And it was the jobs that were tied to that specific project, not the jobs from the whole mill. So if they decide to do or cut down or do whatever somewhere else in the mill, that had nothing to do with this particular project, which is what it was all about, was the $400+ million investment in our community that kept Georgia Pacific here for an extended period of time. That's what it was all about. So, I do support business and I do support jobs, and I also support one of our largest employers in the community. I think that's all I have to say at this time.
Okay, before I go to Commissioner Rawls, I can't see it any better. That it was, from what I understood, it was tied to the jobs for this particular machine, and the other areas, if they do cuts or anything, or bring in new technologies that may reduce a staff, then that's part of their decisions to make that. But it's actually to keep a facility there, and I know that we were in competition with, I know at least a group out of Alabama, or community in Alabama, and they offered a lot more than this, I can tell you that. Commissioner Rawls?
Yeah, I'd never heard that Georgia Pacific was looking to pull roots up. I knew that we were in competition for the machine, but at the end of the day, if the net is a negative, we're losing 100 jobs plus or minus, and we're giving up almost half of our annual revenue to do so. It just, I just wanted to state publicly that I don't think that it was a great deal for the citizens. If Georgia Pacific is inclined to pull up anchor and move on to another community, there's nothing that we can do to stop them, but I don't think that's the case. I think that would cost them a lot more to shut that operation down and move it than it would be to leave it where it sits. But I'm not sure this was a great deal for the public in retrospect. We got a new paper machine out of the deal, but we also paid $20 million to get that and lost almost 100 jobs. So thank you.
Commissioner Adams-Act?
I don't know if I would have supported it or not. I wasn't there at the time, but the only thing I guess I question is how we verify outside of the letter that says they've 102 full-time members specific to that location. I don't know how, I guess we just take their word for it, and then that's fine, I guess. How does that verification process happen? I guess is what I'm asking. Because all we have is a letter.
Yes, sir. As per the agreement that was signed by the board at that time, job is defined as the means of the average number of full-time equivalent positions of applicants at the project. Also defined by the letter, someone at GP must send us, by the agreement, someone at GP must send us a letter by May 1st each year. And that is exactly how the agreement was set up to validate jobs at the project. And that's the formula that we apply.
Okay.
Commissioner Turner?
Yeah, I think that we would be remiss in also trying to clear up the portion of this that's of the utmost importance, and that is that we refund 95% of the additional taxes that we would have never gotten in the first place if they hadn't come here and built the paper machine.
Correct.
That's correct.
So you can say all you want, this hogwash about it's costing us $20 million. If they never built the paper machine, we wouldn't have gotten anything, not 5% of the money. So let's just keep it in mind what the truth is here instead of what we're trying to spin it to be. And the truth is, we would have not gotten any money, no paper machine, no extra jobs, we wouldn't have gotten anything, and Georgia Pacific could have left here very easily and just went to another plant. So having them put that kind of money in the community means that they want to continue being a community partner with Putnam County. It's very tremendous for our county to do so, but that's the most important part of this that hasn't been mentioned. We're only giving back a portion of the additional tax, none of what we had before. So we're actually, if you look at it from a different point of view, we're getting 5% for 2 years. I think it's 2 years. We get 3 years. We get 5% of the additional tax that we wouldn't have gotten at all, because if they hadn't have built the machine, there wouldn't have been any money. So we get, and then after that, we get, I believe it's 80% we refund for the next 2 years. And then, so we get 20% of the additional monies that would have never been built to start with if the county hadn't done this. And I wasn't here then, but I was an avid supporter of it at that time. And then in 5 years, when this deal's over with, we get 100% of the tax base for the rest of that. I agree that it's depreciating and it won't be as high as it is now, but it's still additional tax that we wouldn't have gotten at all if they hadn't have built the machine here to start with. We need to listen, we need to pay attention to what we're saying here. The county hasn't paid anything to bring this in. They're actually getting money additional that they wouldn't have got if that machine wasn't built here. So I just think we need to keep that in mind too, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Rawls, and we'll wrap her up.
I'm not looking for an argument. I'm just stating a concern. Sorry, I'm not looking for an argument. I'm just stating a concern. There's no hiding the truth here. This isn't speaking untruth. I realize that we're going to get tax revenue. They're going to scrape all the cream off the top because they get to claim the depreciation over the first 5 years. So I understand what's going on here. I just am not sure with the language that was presented, if it was in the best interest of the public. I know this commission that's currently here didn't sign it, but
I did.
I did.
Larry and I were here.
Not this commission. I'm saying this commission right here.
Right.
So, it's not something that we put into play. I don't know in the way that it was presented if that is something that I would have been able to support, is what I'm saying. And the conversation goes to the future and any other endeavors that we might have with other businesses. We're going to lose positions at Seminole Electric when they fire up that new gas power plant. We want to go off coal. We want to be on natural gas. It's the right thing to do for the environment. But at the same time, that's going to lose us jobs. And we have to be cognizant of that. We need to have jobs in Putnam County. We need to have the higher paying jobs and the tax revenue that comes from it. That's all I'm simply stating. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval for item B.
Okay, got a proper motion by Commissioner Harvey, proper second by Commissioner Turner. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor indicate saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Okay. Item B passes. Okay, Commissioners, we'll move down to item 6. Ask Mr. Tom Moore to come forward for code enforcement. Our first case is a fine reduction request, code case number 2009-00891. Mr. Moore.
Good morning, Commissioners. The violation was unsafe structure and care premises. The original fine amount was $55,745.50. Total cost of enforcement action was $4,435. Property owners recently purchased the property. It's now compliant and is requesting a fine reduction. If the board approves, we recommend the reduced fine to be paid within 90 days.
Okay, any questions of Mr. Moore? Okay, is the applicant here?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept $29.35 if paid within 90 days.
Second.
We've got a proper motion for What'd you say it was, 41?
29.
35.
2935 was paid within 90 days, and got a second by Commissioner Turner. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor indicate saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, next case, fine reduction codes case 2020-00333.
The violation was care premises. The original fine amount was $5,893.50. Total cost of enforcement action was $1,275. The property owners recently purchased the property. It is now compliant and is requesting a fine reduction. If the board approves, we recommend the reduced fine to be paid within 90 days.
Mr. Chair, make a motion that we reduce the fines by the additional administrative monthly charge of $230 for a total of $1,045 to be paid within 90 days.
Second.
Okay, got a proper motion by Commissioner Rawls, proper second by Commissioner Turner. Is the applicant here? Okay, no? Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, and that math's right?
Yes, it is.
How much was the fine?
$1,045?
1,045?
It was $1,245, reduced by $230.
It's $1,275.
It's 1,275.
And reduced by $230, so it makes it $1,045. Well,
Okay,
I
I'm
did in my
sorry.
head,
Okay, I did the 200 off there. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. Item C, code case 2020-00091.
The violation was unsafe residential buildings and care premises. The original fine amount was $13,918.50. Total cost of enforcement action was $1,105. The property owners recently purchased the property. It's now compliant and requesting a fine reduction. If the board approves, we recommend a reduced fine to be paid within 90 days.
Okay, is the applicant here? Okay, do you wish to say anything? Okay, all right. Any questions of staff?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we reduce the fine to $845, reducing the, taking off the $260 monthly administrative if it's paid within 90 days.
Second.
We got a proper motion and a proper second to reduce fine to $845, whether it's paid in 90 days. All in favor indicate saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, next case, fine reduction codes case 2021-00017.
The violation was unsafe structure and care premises. The total cost of enforcement action was $9,718.50. Total cost of enforcement action is $1,081. The property owners recently purchased the property. It is now compliant and requesting a fine reduction. If the board approves, we recommend the reduced fine to be paid within 90 days.
Okay, any questions of staff? Okay, is the applicant here? Okay, you wish to say anything, sir? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make a
Okay.
I'm sorry. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we reduce the fine to $930 if paid within 90 days.
Okay, got a proper motion by Commissioner Harvey, proper second by Commissioner Turner, reduce the fine to $930.
931?
$931.
Sorry. I amend my motion to $931 if paid within 90 days.
Okay.
Did the math wrong, I'm sorry.
Got amended motion to move it to $931 and an amended second to move to $931 if paid within 90 days. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, last case, 2019-00316.
The violation was unsafe structure and care premises. The original fine amount was $14,462. The total cost of enforcement action was $1,844. Property owners made the property compliant and is requesting a fine reduction. If the board approves, we recommend the reduced fine to be paid within 90 days.
Okay, is the applicant here? Okay, any questions of staff, commissioners? Okay, what's the pleasure of this board?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we reduce the fine for $1,844 minus $340 for monthly administration to $1,504 if paid within 90 days.
Second.
Okay, we got a proper motion to reduce it to $1,504 and a proper second if paid in 90 days. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Okay, Commissioners, we'll move down to item 7, and I see the Honorable Matt Reynolds is not with us today. Susan, you have any words of wisdom for us?
No, we don't. He's at clerk's conference.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Commissioner, we'll move down to appointments. I'll start with Commissioner Rawls. Any appointments?
I have none.
Okay, Commissioner Harvey?
I do, sir, on the Fair Authority. I've met with Scott Bauman, and I'm going to reappoint him for the Fair Authority Board.
Okay, and that's a district appointment?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any others?
I have none others.
Okay, Commissioner Adamsack?
The same, I've met with Malcolm several times for District 5. I'm going to reappoint Malcolm Faber to District 5 for the Fair Authority.
Okay, all right, any others? Okay, Commissioner Turner?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to appoint Renee Huff back to the Fair Authority. And also, I need to ask a question of the attorney. I know there's certain committees you can't serve on at two at the same time. Scott Brahman has been serving on our Animal Services Committee for several years along with the Fair Authority. Are those two, I think, are back when this started, our last attorney, in which I'm not trying to say anything, and said that that would be fine from the Fair Authority to the Animal Services Advisory Committee. Do you concur? Because I would like to nominate Scott to continue serving on Animal Services Committee. Would you like some time to look into that, and I'll hold off till the next meeting?
I'll double check. Gut reaction is I think that's fine because the Fair Authority doesn't exercise the power of this board as a sovereign. So even though you have appointment powers, that's a little bit different for the
So
Fair
would I be safe at this time in nominating him to the Animal Services Committee? If that's so, Mr. Chair, I'd like to nominate Scott Brahman to serve another term.
Second.
Animal Services Advisory Committee.
Okay, that's a district appointment, so we don't,
No, that's an
That's
at-large.
at-large.
That's why
Yep.
I nominated instead of appointing. That's this one up here, Animal Services.
oh, okay, Animal Services, I'm sorry. Okay, so you got a proper motion, a proper second? Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, any more appointments?
I don't have any further today, sir.
Okay, and I'd like to nominate Johnny Greenwood to serve another term on the Fair Authority, and that's a district appointment. So, okay, seeing no other appointments, commissioners will move down to public comment. This portion, public comment on miscellaneous items. This portion of the agenda is designed to allow citizens an opportunity to bring matters to the attention of the board. It's not reasonable to expect that the board will engage in deliberate or debate or deliberation on matters on which the board has received no prior information. Please, if you come to the podium, if you'll state your name and address for the record and speak clearly into the microphone, and we will give you around 3 minutes. So the first speaker is Mr. McKinley Evans, Jr.
McKinley Evans Jr., 154 Huntington Shortcut Road, Crescent City. May I approach the board, please?
Yes, sir.
Need to make sure she gets one of these. And the other one to be down there too.
I want to start out with Putnam County Animal Control. I've had a complaint about a dog getting up under my fence, digging under my fence. You can see I got the whole write-up of the people that I've spoke with there and the conversations I've had with people at Animal Control. It doesn't seem like anybody down there knows what's going on, what the next person is doing. I spoke with 3 or 4 different people, and every time I call, I get a different thing, a different lie, or whatever you want to call it. On the 3rd page there, that's the dog that's on my property there. The dog been there since March the 27th, a whole month. I've been trying to get this resolved, a whole month. The lady did come out a couple times, and she said, well, if the dog is a minister to you, you know, you got the right to protect your property. I said, lady, I'm not going to shoot no dog. I ain't going to kill no dog. So that's the dog there on page 3. This is one of the, animal control papers that the lady left on my gate one day and said she couldn't catch the dog. That's the animal control. The only thing I ask is that, you know, don't give me anything, but if I pay for the service, please render the service. Don't give me no service, render the service. I'm not asking you to give me nothing. On the next page back there, I got 2 pages of some stuff on the back of my pickup, and that was in April the 2nd, 21, last year. Lady charged me $13 to take some stuff out there to the South Putnam dump down there. She said it would be $13. Real nice lady, because I talked pretty rough to her, and I had to go back and apologize to her afterwards because she de-escalated the situation. But I told her $13 was not fair. She said, well, we have to haul that stuff. It looked like construction stuff. I said, lady, look, this is not a trailer. It's just a little truck of stuff. I've been paying, born and raised here in Putnam County down here, and been paying taxes all this time, and I bring some out here one time, and you're gonna charge me $13, then where my money going for that I pay taxes for? You know? So that's the second thing right there. I'm not asking you to give me the refund, to give me nothing. I like to have it refunded at $13, and you guys make the rules and everything, so if y'all divide it up, you can give me $2.60 a piece, I'll be happy. Or however you want to make it, that $13, I'd probably be kind of happy about that today. But if you don't, I understand, then I just be an unhappy Putnam Countyan, you know? So those are my complaints. They're small, but they mean a lot to me because I don't ask nobody for nothing. And I'm not asking you to give me nothing. Render the service that I pay for. If I don't pay for it, don't give it to me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you,
Now,
Mr.
how about
Evans.
that $13 there before I leave? Because that's been bothering me since last year. I need that $13. Come on, man. Y'all can,
If it's construction, if, Jay, don't get me wrong, if it's construction debris, that's not within the scope of what can be dropped off out there or what's picked up by Waste Pro. So if it's considered construction debris, everybody pays, you know, a fee for that depending on how they measure it on your truck. We're trying to get
well,
this,
how you gonna measure it? You don't have no scales or nothing down there or anything.
we're working on getting this.
And then there again, the other thing is, the lady did say I could take it to Palatka. My thing is, Palatka don't have to bring stuff all the way down to Crescent City, so why I gotta bring it all the way to Palatka? I pay tax just like everybody else.
Yes, you do. Okay, Commissioner Rawls, you have a comment?
I guess a couple of questions. So, on the animal services, I read what you wrote, and I can read your frustration, and I fully understand. Right now, as it stands, the dog is still a nuisance?
Sir, I finally caught the dog myself
Okay.
a couple of days ago. And I called somebody and they said, well, they'll take the dog. Nobody from the animal concern. Here's the point. If the lady had came back again and I caught the dog, I'd have told her, hey, I kind of like the little dog now, the girl dog. Take the dog over there, do what you got to do, get him spaded, whatever. I'll pay for it, bring it back, and I'll pay for it. I ain't going to come and get it, and I ain't going to, but I will pay for it. If you take it over there, you got to take it over there anyway. I ain't going to burn no gas. It's too high. I can't afford it. And bring it back, and then I'll pay for it. But she didn't never call. Nobody never called anymore and everything. So I said, the heck with it.
And then in here, you said that you had an interaction with somebody named Donald, and they said that they were the supervisor.
He was acting supervisor. Some lady wasn't there, and this guy said he was the next person in charge, and just completely lying and said about traps and going to charge me to put a trap out there. I said, what do you mean you're going to charge me to put a trap, and all this, and man, get the world out of here.
So I guess my question to the commission is, and I'm not aware that, I didn't know that we were charging for traps. Is that our standard now?
No, we're not charging.
Well, they lied to me, just like I told you. They're all lying down there.
McKinley,
If
please,
you're running a
please,
business,
direct your comments to me.
If you was running a
and I
business,
appreciate
if you
it.
was running a business, and you run it like that, you wouldn't be in there long.
Right.
Okay, all right, Commissioner Harvey?
I got something else here. So, as it stands now, the animal.
I had to take care of it
that's-
myself.
Okay, and I sympathize with the position you were in, and I'm glad that things have worked out now. I don't like the way it ended. I don't like the solution that was offered. I think we need to deal with that separately. On the other issue, I was trying to keep track of what you're saying. So the $13 that you're requesting back, I don't understand the issue with you couldn't take the trash in there without paying, or?
The lady told me, says, it looked like construction. Look,
Construction debris.
and I told the lady, look, this is not no big truck, this is not no trailer. I don't come out here. Look, I'm not gonna take it all the way to Palatka. So she said, well, it's gonna be $13. If you wanna drop it off here, it's $13, you can take it to Palatka. And so I had to pay her $13. I'm saying, with all these bonuses and everything, y'all give me my $13. I need it.
So I guess my question to the commission is that, is C&D billed separate for some reason? If you take it into Palatka, it's free. If you dump it at a transfer station, it costs?
I know if it's dropped at a transfer station, it costs, because
Okay.
my neighbor is doing some renovation to his house, and he said, they charged him, so.
I guess, what is the logic, because it has to be, we have to pay to move it from there to the central landfill?
Jay, you want to come up and
And while
give
he's
us a
coming up,
definition on this? I don't need it, I'm not gonna let that happen.
I think what I'm thinking about is, and this from my perspective.
Yes, sir.
So if you throw your construction debris in the transfer station in the south end of the county, and you don't pay for it, then I have to pay for it, and all the citizens that don't live in that area have to pay for it. So I think I'm looking at both sides of it. Either you pay the $13, or somebody else is gonna pay the $13, because it's gonna go to the central landfill. I know it's a long haul, obviously, you got more than 25 miles to haul your debris to the central landfill, but if you don't pay for that, somebody else will pay for that. And I don't know that that's fair to the other taxpayers in the county.
It's not fair for somebody else to pay. I understand that. But what am I paying for? What do I pay for?
So you pay your solid waste disposal fees, and that covers your portion of the operation of the landfill, having the trash picked up at your front door, and the operation of the center down, the convenience center. But when you have that kind of refuse, it's now got to be transferred north. I don't know that, that it would be fair to put that burden on everybody in the county because you were doing renovation or had C&D, going in. So to me, it's a double-edged sword. It's one of those, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Okay, Jay, you want to just
If
give
I
an
don't get paid-
explanation?
Okay, if I am not paying for that service, then don't give it to me. Keep the $13.
Okay, all right, thank you, Mr. Evans. Jay, you want to clear that up?
So, excuse me, Mr. Evans. The way it works is if you bring it to Putnam, to central landfill, that's where the allotment
That's
kicks
right.
in. You get 2,000 pounds free per year of C&D, and then you get 4,000 pounds of yard waste that is above the limit set per our contract in our county. So if it's bigger than 4 inches in diameter and longer than 6 foot, that's what that allotment covers. So, but at the convenience sites, we don't, because we do have to truck it in. Historically, has been the reason for us charging for the C&D there, and it's charged by the yard. So essentially what they did is they measured Mr. Evans' truck, they determined it was 1 yard or 1 point whatever yards, and that's where they came up with the number of $13. Now, we are in the process of getting the scales and everything, and I've got a quote to get the scales fixed, but I got to get some electrical things and some upgrades done at our outlying sites to be able to get that done for our outlying areas, and then we got to make a decision if we're going to, start giving them the allotment. But there is still a trucking cost that is associated to bring it in from Interlaken and from Huntington. So that'll be a decision that we'll have to bring in the workshop or in front of you 5 to make that determination once we get that put in place.
All right, okay, thank you, Jay.
Well, how do you measure my truck?
We're not, McKinley, we're not going to give it into that now. Commissioner Adams, we're going to wrap this up, and I appreciate your comments.
I just
The
want
way-
to know
the
how
way
you
I-
gonna- how you gonna measure my truck. That's what I wanna know.
The way I look at it is it's a convenience fee for both ends. Interlocking has the same issue. I absolutely agree with it from a C&D perspective. I do agree that we need to get the scales. It's been something I've been advocating for a long time, because that way we get a hard and fast measurement of what it is. But the bottom line, if there was a scale and the stuff happened to weigh more, it might have cost you more than $13. And if the scale happened to weigh less, it might have cost you $8.50, who knows? But as of now, that's the way we're handling it. That's how we're handling it for all citizens. And I think that's the best way we can do it until those scales are up and running. And I think, do we have a timeline for the scales? I know we were thinking about repairing them, right? I mean, I guess that's a question.
They're working on, we'll
So
get
we
them
are
done as
working
soon
on
as
getting the
possible.
scales there. That is an initiative that we started, I don't know how long ago they started, but that I've been pushing for over a year. So hopefully that happens soon, and maybe your load will cost more than $13, maybe it'll cost less. I don't know until them scales are in there.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Mr.
Thank
Chairman,
you.
can I add one thing to that?
Yes.
I think you have to be careful, because it's over $30 a ton to dump by the weight. But to answer your question, if your truck is your bed is 6 foot by 4 foot by 2 foot deep, if you have a short bed, or 8 foot by 4 by 2, you're running at 6 by 4 by 2, it's 48 cubic feet, and there's 27 cubic feet in a yard, so you're about 1 3/4 yards. And that's how they would be able to do that, just by looking at your truck. They can tell by the make and model of what you have and how high it goes. So it's not complicated math, but I think you're getting a great value, because if you went in there with a bunch of drywall and it tipped the scales at 1,000 pounds, you're gonna pay for half a ton, which is almost double what you're talking about.
Okay, all right, thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Mr. Evans, for your comments, okay? And I will follow up on both of those with you, and I'll talk to you later. I'll call you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next speaker card, Christine Mcgregor. Okay, if you would speak clearly in the microphone and state your name and address for the record, and since we blew 3 minutes, we'll allow you pretty much the time that you need this morning.
Okay, good morning. My name is Crystal Mcgregor. I live at 135 Sunset Drive, Georgetown, Florida. I'm going to read my statement since it's very concise.
I can barely hear you.
Forward.
Yeah, we can barely hear you.
I'm sorry, I cannot raise my voice. I lost my voice a while ago.
That's fine.
My husband's name is James Mcgregor. We are requesting a permit allowing us to create a drain and swale in the county public road easement in front of our property at 135 Sunset Drive, Georgetown, Florida. We are hoping to have this work completed before the hurricane season begins and the water issue becomes worse. We had minor drainage problems prior to the paving of Sunset Drive. We now have an asphalt road which does not allow water to drain away from our driveway, causing water to collect and back up to our garage and down the sidewalk into our interior patio. The paving company also paved over, a French drain that was at the top of the driveway roadside, allowing water to drain away from the driveway. The road was paved without any input from Public Works, giving any direction to concerning and protecting the property of the homeowners. We had been approached on March 15th by Helen Teague, homeowner and organizer, with their intention to pave the road. She stated that the homeowners were collecting money to pave the road, which was in bad condition. She said the road was a private road and would cost $36,000 to pave it. When asked about the company paving the road, Mr. Reed indicated that DB Paving, who had paved other roads in the area, would be doing the paving. Mrs. Teague stated that the paving company was applying for a permit. After discussing the paving, our family decided we would not participate. Mrs. Teague was upset about questions concerning the road paving. She indicated that we could call Planning and Development at their number to get answers concerning the project. She also stated the road was being paved the next week. The questions of private or public was asked of Public Works. We were informed that the road was Public County Road Class 2 and not private, and could not be paved without Public Works Department involvement. At that time, we contacted Mrs. Teague and informed her that we would not be contributing to the fund. Monday, March 21st at 8:44, we received a text from a neighbor telling us that the road was being graded and paved, suggesting we move our cars from the driveway if we wanted to get out during the next 2 days. The afternoon of March the 21st, a group of workers, equipment, and Mr. Gene Reed, homeowner and organizer, began paving the road. The paving company finished paving the road Tuesday.
Okay, Mr. Mcgregor, have I spoken to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay, so I believe I told you that the county, as far as I understand, has never been in this situation where the citizens just went ahead and took it upon themselves to pave a Class 2 road
Yes, sir.
without permission, and that staff was looking into this. And if I hadn't gotten back to you by Wednesday with an answer about your permit, to contact me.
That's correct.
Okay, so if you're here today, and we appreciate your comments, we're going to go to Commissioner Harvey first.
I don't know where to begin. I heard about this. The citizens took it upon themselves to pave a county-maintained road
There are
with
8,
no input from the county.
correct.
Weren't they told that it was private?
There are 18 homes on that road.
Okay.
We were told that there were at least 3 or 4 of us who did not wish to have the road paved.
That's not, Mr. McGregor, I'm not arguing with you because that's
Oh, no,
not
no,
your
I
fault.
understand.
Mr. Troxel, can I ask you a question, please? And as you're working your way up, I just heard Mr. Turner say, were they told that this road was a private road and they could do whatever they want? Or we didn't know about it till after the fact or pretty close to the fact of it getting paved?
Yeah, we did not know about it until just before it happened. I think we were informed that it was probably going to happen, but other than that, we did not tell them it was a private road.
Okay,
All
so,
records say it was a Class 2.
so my question to you is, now the citizens have took it upon themselves to create a public nuisance of a road that might not have been engineered properly or might have. I don't know the answer to that. But according to Ms. Mcgregor, she's got water now messing up her property based on what the citizens did out there. Who's going to be responsible to fix this? Because I don't believe it's a county responsibility at this point. Someone who initiated that process needs to fix her drainage problem. Do you agree, or how do you feel about that? I
Yeah.
probably shouldn't even ask you that.
Yeah, that-
I'll withdraw that question. Thank you. I'm done, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Commissioner Rawls, I'm sorry.
I'm hearing this for the first time, so.
And I understand that.
Right now, but the first thing that pops in my head is you have a civil action against a contractor and your neighbors. If your house is being damaged, you need to protect your property as best you can and do whatever it is you have to do to protect your personal property. I would think that the county's in a position right now where, now that we've eaten from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, we need to fix this thing. It's our responsibility to get it fixed. I don't think that we have the ability to sit by and wait for somebody to unring the bell that did this right, wrong, and different. And my biggest question is, would there have been a permit required? And the paving contractor, would they have known this? And maybe this is one of those tough lessons that a contractor just has to get slapped around and realize that what they did was wrong. But, and then my fourth question is, how long is this road?
Well, there are 18 homes.
And is that 9 on each side?
No.
18 in a row?
The road comes down, and there are approximately 10 coming down, and then there are 8 after you come around the corner, which go down to a cul-de-sac.
$36,000 is a minuscule amount of money compared to what we normally hear for any paving, grading. Did they go in and do any preparatory work? Did they put down any lime rock and then pave it, or was it just asphalt right on top of the?
They came down that morning with a Kubota front-end loader, and they dragged it up and down the road, and then they just paved it.
I think we have an action against the homeowners as well, it sounds to me like, because they've now put us in a position to have to expend resources to undo what they did, but she's right. Storm season's coming. I don't know that the proper fix necessarily is a swell, unless it's a temporary fix, but
Okay,
I would think that we have an action against a contractor for.
okay. Before I go to Commissioner Turner, Mike, you've been down there and done some research, right? And then you're going to make a statement. Hopefully, you got something for our transportation meeting this afternoon on this.
I drafted a letter right now.
Okay. And I was going to bring this up in commissioner comments at our transportation meeting. Commissioner Turner?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Part of that I agree with, and part of it I don't. I think that it is up to the county to go and see what was done wrong, and if somebody did something that damage the county, then the county needs to fine them. If that contractor and the neighbor did something that harms other neighbors, it's a civil suit in my book between the neighbors versus neighbors. So I think we're talking two issues here. One of them is what they did. If they paved a road without getting a right-of-way permit, or however you would handle it if a citizen wanted to pave a road, then, and they didn't follow the rules, then the county would go after them for those damages. I think that they also should talk to the contractor. He should know better than just go pave whatever he wants to, he or whoever it was. But so that's one issue. The other issue is what they did illegally or without authorization. If that damaged another neighbor because of what they did, that's not the county's problem. That's the neighbor in civil. That's what civil litigation is all about in my book. Yes. And so I think it's two issues here. If they damage the neighbors, then the neighbors are going to have to go after them. If they did something to the county that damaged the county, then the county's going to have to go after them. So I think this is going to be two separate issues and a two-pronged deal. That's just my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Okay, somebody will be back in touch with you, Ms. McGregor, okay? And I
right.
still have your contact information.
Thank you very much for listening to me
Okay.
today.
Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank you. Okay, any other public comment? Okay, we'll close the public comment portion, and we'll go down to closing comments. Administrator Suggs.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, good morning. Just a couple of things. First of all, just want to let the commissioners know that we're looking at scheduling tentative dates for the workshops for constitutional officers for budget presentations. And those dates right now are tentatively scheduled for June 9th and June 10th. So please look at your calendars. We've reached out to all the constitutionals for theirs.
What is that for?
Budget workshops for the constitutionals. 9th and 10th. All right.
And that's,
What month?
June.
so are we going away from the percentage, or is this in lieu of that, or what?
Commissioner Rawls, Mr. Chairman, this is the process that the staff takes every year during the preparation of the budget, is to meet with the constitutionals and get their requests and their information from them. We haven't gone away from that process as of today. So
Well, I mean, don't take this the wrong way, but to me, it seems kind of disingenuous if you say, we're going to give you this amount of money, but we want to hear what your needs are. I know that under 125, they're required to present us a budget, but are we there to hear and deliberate, or just hear what they have and then say, this is a finite amount that you're going to get?
Sir, at the last workshop, the board voted and agreed to hearing them and to giving them a maximum not to exceed their percentage at this point in time as we move forward. So yes, you would still be hearing their request and determining an appropriation based on board action at your last
Based on the
workshop.
percentage or based on dollars?
The board can do at some point whatever it chooses to do, but the board action at the last workshop was to take a maximum not to exceed % of net new revenue allocation method. That still means that you're gonna have some determining factor on what that maximum not to exceed amount is.
Only if you're going less than the percentage and not.
That's
okay.
correct.
Okay, we'll just, and we need 2 days to do that, I mean, is it?
we have normally and always have scheduled 2 days. We split 2 up and 2 up on consecutive days.
I'm game, I'll be here 5 days a week, don't matter to me, but, so that's the 9th and the 10th, at what time?
We typically start them at 9 and we'll do one, we give them hour blocks-ish, but that is still contingent upon the constitutional officers responding back to me with their schedule availability.
I'll put it as a placeholder.
Okay, Commissioner Harvey?
Mr. Chairman, could we look at the 8th instead of the 10th? I'm supposed to be at a Rayo workshop in Tampa that day. Is there a possibility of us looking at an alternative?
I'll confirm that too. I cannot be here the 10th either.
Okay, no problem.
Just, and I don't mind any other date, but just the 10th is something I've already committed to, and I can stop it if I need to and be here. That's very important. And we did ask them to look at the anomalies too, so I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. This is a tentative schedule. That's why we're bringing it to you today. So if there's any conflicts, then we can work through those conflicts.
Yeah.
Mother's Day,
So as we're
8th and 10th.
going to move them to 8th and 9th?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we'll reach out to the constitutionals and see if they're available on those days. And once we get confirmation on everybody's calendars, we'll let everyone know in plenty of time. That's why we're doing it now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
You want me to hit that button?
No, go ahead.
All on me?
Go ahead.
So this year, what we're planning on doing is we're gonna ask them what their requests are, just like we've been doing, even though we're doing the percentage thing by board vote, because it's a not to exceed. And we're hoping that one of them's gonna actually ask for less money. I mean, that didn't come out right. I didn't mean to be that condescending, I really didn't. So, why are we gonna do this? I'll just try to be as blunt about it as I can. Why are we going through this process? We know what they're gonna get, X amount of whatever the board decides to not, if they were decide to make a tax reduction or not use all or accept the rollback. I mean, there's a bunch of different scenarios here, but basically the board says, okay, we're not gonna reduce taxes at this time, so X amount of dollars that it goes up, they get split by percentages. So, do we really think that one of them's gonna come in here and not know to the nickel what their percentage is gonna be?
Chairman, I believe that the response to that is simply, it's your due diligence to try to bring a transparency process to the budget, which includes the constitutionals which you appropriate. It may help you in your determination as to what net new revenue is going to be at the end of the day based on the request of the constitutionals. If it far exceeds what you have the ability to do, you may not hold additional funds back. If it doesn't far exceed what you have the ability to do, it may give you additional room to have a holdback. It is just part of the budget process as outlined in statute.
As usual, that makes perfect sense. Thank you.
Okay. Administrator Suggs, any further comments?
Yes, sir.
One
Couple.
last
Okay.
comment. Has George ever won an argument with you one time in his entire life?
He won't admit to it if he, you know, I saw on Facebook, funny, if you argue with your wife and win, did you really win?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, just a couple more things. As you know, we're still trying to fill a couple positions here with our inmate work crews, and I think we got a couple interviews scheduled for next week. So just wanted to update the board on that because you'd asked at the last meeting. Also, on a more of a civic note, I just want to give a shout out to Commissioner Harvey today. You know, my wife and I attended the 21st annual Liver and Onions night last night, which is a great opportunity to get out and visit and see some folks, but also to support a great cause, which is the Putnam First Cancer Center that we have here in Putnam County. And it was a great honor to sit at the table last night with Dr. Curvella and his wife Sheila, and former Sheriff Taylor Douglas, and you know, Brian Bergen, our former VP of Economic Development with the Chamber. So it was a great event, but 21 years, and to hear the comments last night was fantastic. And I know Commissioner Turner wouldn't share my sentiments on the liver and onions, but I also understand the steak was delicious as well. But again, just want to say thank you for you and Linda for doing that, and the banana pudding with the chocolate icing on top was just off the chain. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Administrator Suggs. County Attorney, Rich Commando.
You know, I just want to pass along, as we were sitting here in the meeting, I learned the sad news that Dr. McClendon, who had been the president of the college for 36 years, passed. So I'll just ask you to keep him and their family in your prayers.
Yep. Great loss, big loss for our community, the county. Golly, he just was a special individual, there's no question, and led the college well and took it to new heights. And I know my brother is honored to follow him and continue the work that is done at the college to promote education in our area. A lot of people don't know that we have Palaca campus, St. Augustine, and Orange Park. It's a fairly large school, and it does great things. So, be a big loss. Keep Miss Vivian and her family in your prayers. Okay, we'll go to commissioner comments, and I'll start with Commissioner Adamsack.
So every year, we kind of hear, last year and this year, from the group about the Historic Preservation Month. Last year, right around this time, and then when I saw this was on the agenda, I asked for a workshop to talk about the archives, and that hasn't occurred yet. With all the other things going on, it kind of slipped in priority to me, which unfortunately I apologize for that to the people that are for the historical stuff. But I would like to see us have the archives, where we're going to put them, what we have, brought up to a commission meeting, because I don't think one commissioner on his own can go out and determine what we're doing with that, or locations and whatnot. And I want to have that conversation. So I guess Commissioner Adamsack is asking for that to be put on the upcoming workshop, preferably in the next month or so. Also,
If I may,
yes, sir.
I think Commissioner Harvey's been working with one of the members on this. I would request that we at least give him the opportunity to get to a level that he either
It's
can't
been a
get it
year since I
done or-
requested it to be on a workshop.
I understand that. I mean, he's
So I would
been
like at
working
least an
on it a year.
update from Commissioner Harvey at that time. Because at some point we have to actually start moving things forward. It was way prior to a year before I asked for it a year ago that this subject has been out there. The other thing that always comes up this time of year, I talked to some people from the Daughters of the American Revolution, some other groups that are in the county. Again, I am a strong advocate for a Historical Protection Act or proclamation that has some teeth to it. I think we should put together an ordinance to protect all of our monuments, all of our statues, all of our grave markers, and I would like to see that on an upcoming workshop as well. I'd like to see us have the same wording of the prior one, and so I'd like to have that on that same workshop if possible. The next item, I did have the opportunity, Mr. Troxel took me out to the sewer system, did a tour of it. I highly recommend the rest of the commissioners, if you have that opportunity. Very informational, it was very good. I don't know, some of you probably know, I'm sure you have, but some of you have probably already been out there, but you know, very informational. I just recommend that we all get out there if we can, if you haven't. I was very happy with Mr. Tillis and Mr. Troxel showing me around and explaining things and teaching about how we handle our sewage system when it comes in. And that's all I have for now.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Adamsack. Commissioner Turner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to join with everybody else in congratulating our Employee of the Month and Employee of the Quarter. Well deserved. I think that's a good program that we're doing, and I'm glad that it's continuing. I'd also be remiss if I didn't mention that I got an email yesterday from Desiree, and she's leaving us as of today. And, you know, she's been a breath of fresh air for the county, and I appreciate her service to the county, but understand when life choices make you have to go to a different direction. So she'll be missed. I'd also like to discuss something, or not, but we kind of discussed it at the last meeting when we talked about administrative fees, and deducting them from the deals, from the fines whenever we reduce fees. Just like today, the total fines today were $87,556. We actually charged them $7,260, or reduced them $80,000 from what the original fines were. The $2,280, I don't think would have made any difference in this deal whatsoever that we did today. I've been told by Mr. Siafi in the last few weeks that barely a month goes by that these cases aren't reviewed, at least to some degree, by the members of the code enforcement area, just to make sure they're doing what they need to do and they're going forward and what have you. So it's not like they're just sitting in the back, sitting on a bench. So, and waiting on time to go by until they can apply, because if there's something they can do or Thomas can do to nudge them forward to get it into compliance, that's what he's doing. So I still think that it would be in the county's interest. I just don't think that $2,280 that we reduced these fines today, the additional $2,280, would have made any difference in this deal whatsoever, but it does make a difference in the amount of abatement money we have at the end of the year and the amount of things that we can use to get other properties to come into compliance too. So I just think we need to have a little more of a conversation on that if we could. I don't think it's the amount of money makes a difference to the deal. When we're reducing it $80,000, we're reducing fines, but we're reducing them another $2,200 on top of that. You know, I just think that maybe we need to take that money and use it towards abatement of other properties and things that makes the rest of the county also good, keeping in mind that the main idea for this is to get them into compliance. We've done that. The program's working well. I just don't know that that makes any difference. So I'd like to discuss that again at some point.
Okay, we'll put it on a workshop. Commissioner Adams-Act?
I agree with Commissioner Turner 100% on this. If you make a motion to do that, I will absolutely second it and support it. I think it's a no-brainer. They already are at the point where they remediated when they get here. I mean, so the work has already been done. They understand so I guess we would be setting a new precedent, so I guess we'd have to do it as a board. But I'm fully with you on that one.
May I answer?
All I want to say.
Mr. Chairman, may I
Yes.
answer? I don't think we need a motion because none of this has ever been done by motion. It's only been done by policy and by the way that we've handled it throughout the years. So it would just be basically by consensus that we're going to agree that when we reduce them, that we don't deduct that from them if the board wanted to do that. But thank you, sir, for that.
Can we, I mean, how much discussion do we need to have on it to get that consensus? I'll give consensus now.
Well, we've got two other commissioners that want to make some comments, so at least two more. So, and I'm probably going to throw my 2 cents worth in too. Commissioner Harvey?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Turner, I agree. Thinking over these fine reductions in the last couple days, studying the packet, what your comments were last month, I took to heart. I will say, there is some people in the community that would like us not to reduce any of the fines down, but that's not good for the county, and we want compliance. I do think you're right. If and I'll say this, I think we started that because maybe I understood that staff didn't touch the file every month. If staff touches the file and it's a documented cost, we should be charging for that. So I concur and I support you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Rawls?
I would say it depends on the circumstance. I think we have to take a look at these individually. You're going to hear from somebody this afternoon if she comes in where she has a piece of property. She just, her property is now up for foreclosure after a special magistrate action. And when I was talking to Thomas, he said that somebody keeps dumping on her property illegally. She doesn't live on the property. It's a vacant piece of land off of Lundy Road. She paid somebody to clean it up. She thought it was cleaned up. They go out there. He said there's more trash than before. So I drove down Moody Road, turned right on the back, the street that goes back toward the mall, heading to Lowe's the other day, and somebody must have gotten the tail end of the line with the landfill with their tires, and they dumped them right on our road. And what's ironic, and I told Thomas, is 75 feet past the pile of tires, there's a sign that says, now leaving county road. There's a sign there that delineates the county road from the road that goes in the back of the mall. And the irony is that, we can't clean up our act and get our act together, but we're going to hold the citizens responsible. And I think that in certain circumstances, we may need to be able to help people depending on their financial circumstances. So it's not about the county needs more money. And we have some of these things that are, I would imagine we haven't dusted off and we're back up to 21 yet. If we were having conversations about actions that started in 21 or so, I could see my way into that. But when you start going back 5, 10, 15 years, the fees the monthly administration fees can just be absolutely staggering. And I think that we could put a stranglehold on what's happening and instead of continuing the efforts to clean the county up, we could actually stifle those efforts. That's, I could get on board at some point, but I think and until we go through that stack of, originally it was a stack of 100, and then we're told there's thousands of them out there. So until we weed through those old ones, I think we could be setting people up for failure and setting ourselves up. Thank you.
Mr. Turner, do you have another comment?
Yeah, I think it's still my commissioner comment, isn't it?
It is.
Okay,
But we're in discussion is what I guess you call it.
under the discussion, surprised Jeff and I don't agree. I think that one thing I do agree with him on 100% is that every case is different. And we've got away from being consistent on several cases where there was extenuating circumstances. We've done it, we've already set that precedent. All I'm trying to do is say that we need to have the conversation that we just don't, with no reason whatsoever, we further reduce a fine from $50,000 to $4,000, and we further reduce it just because we don't think they deserve to have their time paid for $10 a month. I mean, and we could use that money to further help. That's all I'm saying. Y'all don't want to do it, that's fine. I believe the way to handle this would be the next time it comes before the board, just consider when your motion whether or not you want to reduce the fine by the additional administrative fees or not. At that point, if you don't, precedence now just got changed to where we don't do it anymore unless the case means that that's what you do. That's the only thing I wanted to say, so I'll get off that subject unless you had something you wanted to add. I see your lights on.
I just think on that subject, I think that we haven't heard from this woman yet, but it's kind of apples and oranges a little bit. These are ones usually where someone new bought the property and remediated it because their goal is to do something with the property. You know, this is a case of, it sounds like someone that's owned the property for a long time and just has a bad situation going on. I don't know that they fall in the same category or would come to us in the same manner. So I think that's a separate subject, and I think we do have some leeway, as Commissioner Turner said, and we have taken that in special circumstances, giving people extra time and other things where it seemed fit. So, thank you.
Okay, the last couple items is the 22 pave list. We're fixing to bid it out, right? The dirt to pave.
We're working on the design plans now.
Okay, so within the next, do you think that maybe on the 22, I'd like to start moving this to where we actually do the 22 pave list within the first half of 23 or something, instead of, you know, we're in April and we're working on 21. I get it, and it takes time to do the design and to do the bidding and do all that stuff. But if there's any way that we could speed that up a little, maybe we could come up with our 23 pave list a little earlier in the year, or maybe we could do something to where we could actually do the 23 in 23. That'd be pretty cool, instead of in 24 or later on. And I'm not being critical.
Gotcha.
I promise I'm not.
I agree.
I'd like to see it move forward as much as possible. And
I agree with you on that one as well.
I do too.
I do too, and we were moving in the right direction, but
Oh, definitely gets better and better every
this thing
year.
called
Gets
COVID
better
kind of
and better
stopped,
every year.
kind of put a slowdown on everything, so.
And the last thing is, I understand by talking to Ms. Young that the Land Development Code request for stuff is closing Friday.
That's
Is that
correct.
Yep.
I wanted to give you a hand. It's been a couple of years that we've been trying to get this done, and we went through the process. We didn't have enough interest, and so I just wanted to give you a heads up. I appreciate making that happen again through the diversity that we've done, and and with that, Mr. Chairman, that's all the comments I had today.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Turner. Commissioner Rawls?
I got to enjoy a little bit of time out. Commissioner Adams' district, they had a special event at the RCMA out there, and it was very well attended. A lot of kids got to go out there, had a lot of fun pre-Easter. I think events like that around the community are what make Putnam County special. And I'm sure other communities have things like that, but I'm not aware of it. But it really is interesting when you take a small group like that, a very eclectic group, and you put everybody together and everybody just has a really good time. With the historic preservation conversation that we had this morning, I think we really do need to be more involved, and Commissioner Harvey's got the lead in this, obviously, but try to help them move along. The one thing that we do not have a lot of is time as human beings, and we don't want to drag this thing along and lose valuable information, especially from folks that have that information in their head, maybe help them get it on paper, because one day they won't be here, or if they have photos and stuff like that. So I think that's really a big part of our heritage and where we need to stay. Getting a lot of concerns from citizens over our growth. I don't know if it's a perception of growth or if it's what they're actually seeing, but it seems like there's a push to slow things down a little bit in Putnam County. I'm not going to say that I disagree with them, but the Land Development Code is really going to be very important. I had a conversation last week or week before with the city of Palatka. It came out of the conversation we had with the Water Management District regarding the Water Star Compliance Program. And it's one of the things that we can do as stewards of what's been entrusted to us. The Water Star Compliance Program is very, very simple and very inexpensive to meet the provisions of. But what it does is it guarantees that we save water, not waste it. Typically, you're using fixtures that you're buying on the shelf anyways. For your laboratories, it's 1 gallon per minute. For kitchens, 1.5, and you have low flow for your toilets. The same thing that you're buying nowadays. It encourages the use of high efficient water heaters, like tankless water heaters. But I encourage the city of Palatka to take a look at this and try to come up with a way to get on board with it and offer an incentive to developers as they come in and develop, to be able to compel them to design with Water Star compliance in mind. Same thing with builders. And I hold myself accountable, and we've been participating in this for quite a long time. But I think that's one thing that we can do. I will take you up on your offer, Commissioner Adamczak. I will go over and take a look at the sewer system. I had a conversation yesterday with Jay Tilton. There was a group from the University of Florida, IFAS, that came in. David Dinkins and Winnie Musling were there. Have a company that's interested in possibly looking at doing composting in Putnam County. And I got quite an education yesterday just in the hour that we spent together. I didn't realize that you can take food waste and actually compost it and turn it into something that we can use, that the farmers can use on a regular basis. So for them to be able to do what they do, they need lots of it. The group that I'm working with at Green Dragon has the byproduct of what they have is actually a very valuable resource for people composting, because it has Canadian peat in it, and it's something they would just send to the landfill. Instead of throwing away the dirt, we could actually repurpose the dirt and turn it into something that's usable for our community or for the farmers. So that's one thing. And then I don't know if it was coincidental, but then I get an email from a professor from the University of Florida last night, and he and I had a 1-hour conversation about a process. And part of what this process would entail would be removing the food type waste from the trash before it goes to landfill, or before they could use it in their process. And I've asked him to come in and talk with us next month. But that would create that biomass that they need on the food waste product for the composting. So it seems like a win-win, and it would reduce the amount of garbage going to the landfill, which extends the life of our cells, which costs us less money over time. So I think there's a lot of interesting, a lot of good things on the horizon. But the Land Development Code is one thing that I can't stress enough. This is our shot at getting it right. And I'm not going to speak disparagingly about the counties that are around us, but some of them have not taken that opportunity to protect the interests of their public, in my opinion, and I think they're starting to have some serious growth issues. So this is our shot at getting it right and protecting our public and protecting Putnam County. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Rawls. Commissioner Harvey?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do want to thank all you commissioners who supported the Save Rodman Reservoir Bass Tournament. We had over 107 boats, 214 fishermen, and over 200 spectators out there at Kenwood Landing on the 16th of April. A really great time, great event, great weather, and we did a really good job out there, and I appreciate all you that helped support that. Do want to also say, Desiree, you're going to be extremely missed. I love seeing her every day. She's a breath of sunshine in this office, and look forward to her what she's going to do in the future. Do want to thank you, Mr. Suggs, for mentioning liver and onion night. I know a lot of people go, liver and onion, but I do cook steaks for those people who turn their nose up to liver. It is invitation. I can't possibly open it up to the whole community. Although I love to do that, the venues just wouldn't be big enough. But truly,
You already failed everybody to eat liver.
no, I think we got plenty more people that would love to have liver. It started, and I want to say this publicly, you've heard me say this, started at hunting camp many years ago, 21 years ago, as an idea that the men wanted to eat liver, but their wives didn't want to cook it at home and smell up the house. So I said, we'll do it there. But if we're going to do it, we're going to raise money for something. So it went to the Cancer Society, and then the Putnam First Cancer Fund came along that really is beneficial to our citizens here. And, you know, I was on the radio station this morning talking about it a little bit. Just a silly idea of liver and onions. It could have been in lasagna, it could have been spaghetti and meatballs. Doesn't matter. Whatever your community wants to do, but take 21 years times an average of maybe $2,000 a year, raised a lot of money for cancer research and the Cancer Fund here in Putnam County. So just a little idea can go a long way. And Mr. Suggs, you're right, the banana pudding that's about that thick with chocolate icing on top, that's the draw. Believe me, it's not the liver and onions, it's the banana pudding with chocolate icing on it. It gets made days before. It has to sit in a controlled environment. My wife is very particular about it, about the bananas and all, and it turns out very well. Want to bring your remembrance to May 21st coming up as Cleanup Day for West Putnam. We'll be working more on that. We're going to have to move we wanted to have the venue down at the Caboose, but we heard today that they're going to have a ice cream social. So we'll probably move just right down the road on that, but more details to come on that, Mr. Chairman, and thank you. And also, before I give up the microphone, if you don't think there's nothing to do in Putnam County, just follow some of us around on the weekend and watch where the Facebook posts go and watch all the things that are taking place. Putnam County is a very vibrant community promoting itself, promoting Putnam County, and it's an honor to serve as your elected person with Putnam County and the people that give of their time and their energy to make Putnam County a better place to live, work, and play. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Harvey. And you do stay busy. I think when I first got elected, I think you cooked, barbecued, did something for some organization every weekend for the first 2 years. So I know with COVID easing up that I'm sure you'll be in high demand again, such as last night and I think Wednesday. You're cooking also, yeah, tomorrow. So anyway, definitely want to add and congratulate Mike and Beth on their Employee of the Month and quarter. We appreciate their service to Putnam County. And Desiree definitely will be missed. She was a breath of fresh air and really did a great job, but wish her well in her next endeavor. I want to just give a shout out and a recognition to Michelle Myers, Mayor of Crescent City, and her commission, and Charles Rudd, and I believe it's Christine with the community redevelopment. They held their first farmers market last Saturday, had about 50 different booths there, and it was really, really well attended. So it was a good thing for Crescent City. I think they're going to continue that monthly as long as they can. So I want to thank them for their efforts. And let's see, any further business come before this board? Okay, we have a 2 o'clock transportation meeting. We stand adjourned.